at CCR, on RJN, GLK on your MON. We'll stop the rain. Well, it's really not a question of rain, is it? Got some snow and wintry stuff happening for the first time since November. I was driving in that blizzard that was on the border. It's your Friday Neighborhood Radio Talk Show host, Glenn Klein. He is Evan Witalson of WRJN, as well as the Red Light Sports Ramble. Good morning, Evan.
Good morning. And we do have to worry a little bit about rain out there because we have to worry about the freezing rain.
That is true. It's a very good point. Thank you for straightening me out. So you have been with this here radio station for how long?
May of 2014.
Now, you beautiful humans are really going to enjoy this story. I met Evan when I first got here, almost 3 months ago now, and you were never even supposed to talk, let alone be on the radio. Is that true?
Yeah, that would be true.
What happened when you were a kid?
Well, when I was a kid, you can probably still hear a little bit. I have a bit of a speech impediment, and when I was younger, the doctors and the so-called experts didn't think I would ever be able to speak to be understood, so they wanted me to learn sign language instead to be able to communicate with others. And my mom and dad thankfully weren't having any of it, and they just continued to be the fine human beings they are and support and encourage me. And, by golly, here I am on the radio.
So your parents got a diagnosis of this significant problem speaking, and the doctors told your folks just to teach you sign language and be done with it.
Pretty much.
So
yeah.
basically you would functionally be acting as somebody that was hearing impaired.
Pretty much, yeah.
And did you have a hearing problem?
No.
It was strictly speech.
Yeah, they didn't know if I would ever be able to develop the motor skills necessary to be understood.
And at what point did they say, we're not going to take the doctor's recommendation?
Pretty much right then and there, because obviously there is options out there with speech and language therapy, and that's what I got into pretty much right then and there. And just the matter of hard work and dedication is what got me to this point. And that's the way. For me, how I function is if you doubt me in any way, now I got to prove you wrong. And that pretty much got instilled in me right then and there, because then it was my handwriting was really bad. Let's teach him to type. And then it was, a number of other things too. And it's just, I'm just going to prove you wrong.
Do you remember? How old were you? Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head, but probably 3 or 4-ish, around that age.
And how much do you recall the therapy that you went through, and how long did you go for it?
I went through it pretty much until early high school. So middle school and elementary school, I was meeting with a speech and language therapist a couple times a week, going over just your basic sounds and punctuation, pronunciation and different exercises to help practice, because my thing was the S and the R. I had a hard time properly enunciating. Mm-hmm. It was just a number of different exercises to work on that. Now I can't remember specifically what the exercises were, but just a number of exercises to work specifically on those sounds.
We have a lot of parents in our audience that have children with all kinds of disabilities. Yeah. How rough was it for you growing up with that?
For me, I would say it was pretty rough, because I've always been kind of the self-conscious person, or at least I used to be. Not so much anymore, but, I was always concerned what others would think if I, were to speak. And I'm one that likes to talk. So, in school, though, especially, I wouldn't really share too much, because if I open my mouth and talk, how are they now going to judge me is kind of would go through my head. So I wasn't as sociable as I could have been, but as I got into middle school, high school, and practiced the skills necessary, that really helped with that. And I had a bunch of really supportive friends that, didn't really care, and they just encouraged me to be me, which was a big help.
Obviously, bullying in our schools and in our culture is a huge issue. Even Hillary Clinton is accusing Donald Trump of being a bully. He's being called a bully. What kind of experiences did you have with bullies growing up?
Well, fortunately with me, I've always been the big kid. I was the biggest in the school, the tallest, the biggest. So most people would leave me alone in regards to that. If they were to actually get to know me, they'll know I'm more of just a gentle giant. But for the most part, they would leave me alone and just let me be, do me. The ones that were the quote bullies of the school.
How tall are you?
Just a hair under 6'6". So I normally round up to 6'6".
Right. And I have not only gotten to know you personally, but also on Facebook. We're Facebook friends. And you decided at some point, I think during the course since I've known you, maybe just prior to that, to engage in a fitness program that you're documenting on Facebook. Tell our audience about that.
Well, I'm going to jump back to 2011. It was around this time. I was having some health issues, mostly due to my weight. I tipped the scales on January 5th of 2012. So I went and saw my doctor, and I tipped the scales at 381. And so roughly this time back in 2011, I was weighing about 380 pounds.
All right, so you're 6'6", 380.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I started having issues with basically chronic and severe, heartburn, indigestion. That the first time I had it, it felt like it was something else. So that really scared the, what out of me. And just having no energy, no motivation, kind of got tired of it. So back then, in 2011, I made a lifestyle change. It wasn't a New Year's resolution, which, if you make New Year's resolutions, that's fine. I have, not going to criticize you for that. But for me, it was a lifestyle change. And I decided to do something about my health and really started pushing, working out hard. And again, my doctor brought up 3 options for me to do it. The 2 he strongly encouraged was either, taking pills or surgery. I decided to do it the old-fashioned way and surprised him quite a bit, because when I went and saw him about 12 weeks later, I was down like 35 pounds. So he was quite happy to see that. But back in then 2013, I started using these workout exercise programs. One is the hat that I'm wearing today, this P90X3. And now I'm, been doing different programs, and, I document it as a way to try to encourage people who want to make positive change in their life. Being heavy is hard. Losing the heaviness is hard. But I guess it comes down to you want to choose your heart. Do you want to stay out of shape and heavy and in poor health, or do you want to better your health? It's whatever the hard you want to work on, and I chose the lose the weight hard, and since 2011 I'm down about 85 pounds.
That's the program that Speaker of the House Paul Ryan's on, that he's talked about, the P90X.
Yeah.
And obviously that is one fit Wisconsinite right
Yep.
there. He's an inspiration, and you're an inspiration. We're talking with Evan Wittallison about his journey. He is a member of the WRJN family. And so what program have you found to be the most effective?
Well, for me personally, it would be probably the P90X3. There's P90X, which Paul, you mentioned Paul Ryan does. There is a second installment, and then P90X3 is a 90-day program where the workouts are just 30 minutes long. You look at the schedule I have, it's going to be quite difficult for me to do these programs that are an hour long. Well, 30 minutes a day, anyone can find 30 minutes in a day to work out. It's very small fraction of the day. You figure you sleep for about roughly 8 hours out of 24. There's still lots of time in the day. You work, let's say, for about 8 hours, 16 hours of the day gone. There's still another 8 hours of your day to find 30 minutes to work out. And that's what I liked about that. And also the Insanity Max 30 I just completed, and I feel I had pretty strong results in too.
I have struggled with my weight my entire life, and I never knew why.
Same way.
I was in the year 2000. I was close to 280, and I'm about 5'10", 5'10 and a half. I was big, and I was in a lot of pain. I was very depressed, and I stumbled on a workout program called Body for Life, and both workout and eating, and literally started after that. They do a 90-day program and literally transformed my body in 90 days and really maxed out my goals within 36 months. But during that time, I was talking to my mom, and she just matter-of-factly said, well, when you were a baby, I was the firstborn, and they had no experience being parents, and there was not a lot of information. And so my mom, when I would cry at night, would just put my bottle into my crib. She wouldn't check to see if I needed to be changed or held or whatever. And so literally that bottle or food became my constant companion. And when she told me that, I don't blame her at all. She didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
She was an inexperienced mother. They didn't know information like that, and that's what she did. But it made so much sense to me because literally food had become my companion for when I was happy, for when I was sad, for when I was lonely, for when I was hungry, obviously. And it occurred to me that I had developed a massive oral fixation. My mouth has got to be moving pretty much at all times. I'm either talking or chewing or eating or drinking or doing something with my mouth at all times. And it was like a light bulb went on. And the thing about healthy eating is that most people think that they need to starve themselves. That's exactly the wrong approach. Diets don't work for a reason.
Look at the first three letters of the word diet.
That's a good point. Diet. So the program is that they say you don't want to just eat once a day like a pig. You don't want to pig out. You want to graze like a cow. Cow have lean meat, and pigs have fatty meat. And you want to just graze all day long because instead of, you know how like after we had a big Christmas dinner or turkey or Thanksgiving, you're ready to go to sleep afterwards because all the blood is rushing to your stomach. It leaves your brain. You get tired. But when you eat smaller meals, and they recommend 6 small meals throughout the day, it actually increases your metabolism and gives you energy. So, and now I'm getting back into a program. I've slid back over time, and this has happened several times. But I've lost like 100 pounds of body fat 3 different times now, and I'm doing it again. So it's a challenge, but a lot of people that are listening to the sounds of our voices have that challenge. What would be the one key? Oh, by the way, somebody that we've had on this program before is a trainer named Karen Butler, and she has a program where you just work out for 20 minutes. And here's what Body for Life found out scientifically, is that when you continue working out past 20, 25 minutes, you do continue to burn fat, but you also burn muscle after 20, 25 minutes. And the muscle, ladies and gentlemen, is precious because a pound of muscle on your body burns 50 times the calories that a pound of fat does. So you really want to save and preserve the muscle. And if you continue working out past 20, 25 minutes, you burn muscle as well as fat. Now, your body weight will go down, but the key is that body mass index and having as much muscle preserved and as little body fat as possible.
Yeah.
What would you say to the folks out there that are contemplating a workout regimen in the new year? What's the number one key?
Well, you got to make sure your body's properly, you're properly feeding your body, as you're talking about. The food is important, and you got to make sure you're feeding it the right stuff. I am a fitness coach as well. I encourage others to use the Beachbody products that I use to try to reach their fitness goals as well. And every single one of the programs, it's one of the big components they push is the nutrition plan. The one nutrition plan I'm following right now is called 21 Day Fix, and what that focuses on is you get color-coded containers. Each color means a food group, and you eat based off the container. So you're not measuring your food. It takes the guesswork out of it. So you weigh this much. This is how many of each container you got to eat a day, and it's really easy to follow. And when I first decided to try the meal plan, I was like, how is this going to be enough food for me? And then it gets into how, after I, do it for a few days, I'm like, how do I get all these containers in throughout the day? And it focuses on the protein and the veggies are what the most containers you eat, with the fruit and the veggies being the largest containers. And that's going to be number one. And number two is find something that works for you. Just because it works for